This is Trinesha Catrell, and welcome to First Love Yourself, where love, life, and Christ combine. I am so grateful to have you here on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment with me. In today's video, we are just going to be talking about life lessons. This is like, it's not a rant, but it's not a instructional as well. So get comfortable because we are about to get into it. Let's go. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Okay, so I know a lot of you missed me yesterday, and I don't mean in a conceited way. I mean that I do videos on Mondays and Fridays, and I was not here yesterday. I had some personal things to attend to yesterday that needed my like the most attention that I could possibly put towards that thing, and I couldn't deter my focus at that time. And my plan was to do the video once I had gotten back home, but when I'd gotten back home, I needed to advert my attention to something else that was pressing. And so I do apologize for not having the video up yesterday, but I still wanted to pour into other people. So that's why I'm here today. I want to make sure that whatever it is that I learned, I'm not slacking, I'm not lacking. I'm here because this is what I committed to. And I know that there are people out there that are struggling. So we're going to get this. Okay. So I have been, like I said, going through this personal thing, and I'm not going to go into detail because it's not my business to tell. But I mean, it has to do with me, but it's really up to that person to share their story, whether they want to share it or not. And my main thing is to try to be there for other people. And so as I am doing that, and then I have a responsibility to certain people as well. So I want to make sure that I'm stepping up and doing the things that I need to do in life. And that does not always look glamorous. It doesn't always look like the most appetizing or most shiny thing that you can possibly do in your life. Sometimes it looks like you really in the mud. It really looks dirty. It looks filthy. It looks like you in the grind. Like you really, really got all that filth on you. And that's usually the time where God's molding you the best. That's usually the time where God is utilizing all the things that you're learning, all the life lessons, all of the trials, the tribulations, all of the things that seem like they were meaningless, and pouring it into you to become the person that you were supposed to be. And so during this season, I've been a little tested because I was like, well, I'm okay in this area because I'm not focused on that anyways. I'm focusing on what this and this. And it's so funny because I was praying to God, like, God, I don't want to be either idolizing being single or idolizing being married or idolize anything. I want God to be the number one priority in my life. And then I want to love myself, and I want to be able to pour into others. That's what my main top three is. And so when I'm going through life, I try to always be conscious of the fact that I have a responsibility to certain duties in my life. And it's not always going to look like I pour 100% into my business and 0% into this. Sometimes it could look 50-50, sometimes 70-30. It's just going to determine on what needs the most of my focus that day. What's God centered. If God is saying, hey, you need to focus on family in this season, then that's what I need to do. If God is saying you need to pour into your business, and I'm not saying I deter away from my family at all, but it might look a little different in that season because that's what I need to be doing, because that's what my circle is going to look like. That's what my life is going to look like. And my battery's dying on me. I know I got to get better at charging my phone, but it's really a low battery. So I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet, and we're going to keep it to the point because we need to make sure we get this knowledge. And so I had some people were talking to me about something, and someone opened up to me, and I wish I could share all the information, but sometimes it's not your business to share. And so I think it's really important to be mature enough to say, okay, this isn't for someone else, this is for me. And I have to be careful when I do these videos because sometimes God will drop a nugget on me. He might be like, oh, this, and this. And I'm like, I gotta tell people. And God's like, nope, this is just for you. This is not for the whole world. And so I'm like, okay, I gotta make sure I keep it close to the chest, close to the vest. And so when I'm learning different things, I try to make sure that I'm only telling the information that's going to be necessary to help someone else, and not just making me seem like I'm doing the best or whatever else. And so as I'm helping this person, they're telling me things that's going on in their life that I had no idea was happening. You can call me like, I don't know, Stevie Wonder, whatever, but I was blind to the whole situation. And so I had to really pull up my bootstraps and like really put in work. I had to really be like, okay, where can I change my focus in this season so I can focus on the things that are necessary? Like, not just not doing anything with my business, not just giving up my whole life and never doing anything for myself. It's not going to look like that. But it will look like me refocusing my attention on the things that need it the most. It will look more like if I'm doing a video and something personal is happening and this person needs me, then I might not be able to do a video, or I might not be able to go this place or do this thing. But it will not be always. It will be when it's pressing, when it's something that really, really is necessary. So what it taught me in this season, and I got some advice from other people, and they they were right to an extent about the things that they were telling me. They were saying, well, you do this, this, and this. And I was like, I don't do that, and that, but I could see why they would think that. And then also, just because that they're saying that doesn't mean it's true. That means that's their opinion. So I had to really take all of this into consideration, which showed real growth in my life. I had no idea I was becoming mature like that. I was like, oh yeah, and I just listened. I wasn't combative. I wasn't like, oh no, but this and this. Like, I had to prove my point. I was just like, okay, I could see why you would think that. And then I could say what was really going on or what was happening in my life, but I didn't have to convince anyone of anything. And I think it takes a real growth to be in a scenario where you can defend yourself, but you don't have to defend yourself. Like, if someone asks you a question or they say, oh, you always wear black, I can say, I wear other colors sometimes. I don't have to say, no, I wear this color on Monday, on Tuesday, and then like beat them down about me wearing other colors than black. I could just listen to them say that they're used to me wearing black most of the times, which is what they're probably saying. And I can never assume. I can sometimes ask for clarification so that I can understand what's happening in the situation. I think it's always important for us to really take a second to think about how we're going to respond to situations before we just jump down people's throats, before we just start to really get offended about someone trying to help us, especially if they're coming from a loving place. So in this season, I've been learning to really just listen. Like, I might want to talk, I might have all of these things that I want to respond to and say, oh no, but it's like this. I don't have to respond in that way. I can take the time to listen to what the other person has to say, and then I can take up for myself if it's necessary. I can say my point of view, but I don't have to try to convince someone of my ways, because we all have our own opinion. We all have things we are different people. We have different perspectives, so we're not going to agree on everything, and not everybody's gonna like you, and that's okay. You have to like yourself and say, okay, regardless of what anyone else thinks, I'm gonna love myself, regardless of anyone else's opinion of me, whatever it may be. That is not what I think about myself, and so I have to really take a second and say, okay, am I doing this? If someone says something about you and you know it's absolutely not true, keep it moving. If someone says something about you and it's from a loving place, take a second and really think about what they're saying. Is it helping my life or hurting my life? If it's helping your life, then take a part of it and spit out the rest. Eat the meat and spit out the bones. Don't just take their word as gospel and say, oh, God, it changed my whole life to live the way that this person wants me to live. No, you be the best version of yourself. You listen constructively to criticism. And if someone's coming from a loving place, then you listen to and take heed to what that person's saying. But you don't have to change your whole life and be who someone else wants you to be, because their opinion can change from day to day. They can say, "Oh, well, you never listen," and you've been working on listening, but they don't think that you've been listening to them. So what you could do is you could fine tune your listening skills by just taking a moment and being silent, just listening to what they're saying, and then responding if it's necessary to respond. Maybe you don't have to go back and forth on every single sentence and really have an answer for everything. Sometimes people just want a person to listen to them. I've said this in a past video, and I don't know if everyone watched every video, so I think it's important to reiterate. But socialization is one of the highest forms of communication. When I was studying psychology in college years ago, we started talking about Sigmund Freud's methods, and one of the things that he always really stood 10 toes down on is sociology, because he noticed that people's personality, the things that they were going through, their whole emotion would shift when they were socializing with other people, because sometimes it just takes a moment to get off of your chest whatever is burdening you in your life. And so I think it's important for us to really be in the season listening to what it is that other people are saying, and not just being so offended by everything, not just being so cancel culture about everything, really just taking a moment to listen to what it is that people have to say, because sometimes, even if it comes from the cruelest person ever, somebody that's your enemy, sometimes your enemies could see you shine more than you can. So when someone who doesn't want the best for me says something negative about me, this is what I do. I'll be telling my daughter all the time. And you could take this and use it. I got it from PMJ, Pastor Mike Jr., but you could use it too. They'll say, "Oh, she thinks she all that." I'll be like, "Oh, they think I'm all that." I don't just be like, "Oh man, they said something negative." They be like, "Oh, she thinks she a millionaire." I receive that. I be receiving everything. People be thinking they insulted me. I'd be like, "Ooh, that's what you see in my life." I be receiving everything. So when in this season, when people say something to you, whether they're for you or against you, if it's something that you aspire to have in your life, receive it. Don't even take a moment to just be pondering on or going back and forth about something that doesn't matter. Life is way too short to be doing that. I usually use my words when I feel like it holds most weight. I try not to just be talking just to talk. I really, when I'm talking, I'm saying something because it really matters to me. It's not just because I feel like talking. So I try to make sure I use my voice for good. Do I always say the right thing? Probably not. But I really do try to be a better person. And so in this season, let's just try to focus on listening to other people, because sometimes people really do want better for you and they can really help you improve and be a better person. So it's time to listen. And thank you so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys on Monday. Bye.